against drugs, and they fight against lackadaisical attitude or laissez-faire attitude at the workplace. Many a time, I hear nasty complaints about certain offices. In fact, they also dramatize it about the civil service. People come into the office, you are talking on the phone, talking to a relative in somewhere outside, and abandoning what put you there in the first place, and that is you are supposed to work. Two things you are doing which are unacceptable. One, you're not doing your work for which you are paid. And at the same time, you're committing an economic crime by illegally making Gambians lose money, because the telephone you are using to call international, the bill is to be paid by government. So here you are, somebody is waiting, you are supposed to attend to the person, you don't care, you are talking on the phone, so you're not doing your work, somebody is waiting, and it's costing government money. This will be unacceptable. And you go to the RVTH, or any hospital for that matter, what we thought was history is coming back. And that is, you go, the nurses do not care, they sit chatting, and they are very rude. Or the doctor on call is nowhere to be seen, and at the end of the day they are paid salaries. Or they tell you, well, despite the fact that every year we have a huge supply of drugs and pharmaceutical products from 3 different countries that we buy regularly, they tell you, give you a description for you to go and buy from the pharmacy. I'm going to put a stop to all this nonsense this year, not in the 5 years, but this 12 months, a lot of people are going home and a lot of people are going to jail. I'm not going to relent on operation no compromise. So, nurses, doctors that are not willing to work, they better go home before I find them, because they will go to jail. This is unacceptable. A nurse is supposed to be a caring person. If you don't want to work, go home. But you cannot be at the hospital, be paid a salary, and you're not attending to patients. And to add insult to injury, you are being rude to people that are sick. In fact, you cannot be rude to anybody. It's unacceptable, much more when you are rude to a patient. This is not going to happen. The RBTA that is just next door, any day I go there, I'm going to wipe out 3/4 of the nurses there. I'm just taking my time. I've given warning to the minister. I'm giving warning to, we're putting a lot of things also in place, administration also. And this is also a warning not only to the RVH management and administration, but to the entire hospital, medical fraternity in this country. Work or go home. Because if I find you there and I'm supposed to send you home, you're going to jail. It is unacceptable that you are paid to do a job, and instead of doing a job, you are not doing a job, and you're costing the state and taxpayers money. You find them, they are busy text. Now everybody has a mobile phone. Now, I'm not saying nobody should have a cell phone. But when it is time for work, put your cell phone aside and do your work. An emergency, a patient is being rushed in. You are texting to Malik Jones about somebody's show that is just coming, that you have seen on TV. Or you promised me a ticket and a new dress. Somebody is dying, and you're talking about a show? Hell no. Billahi wa la ta'ala. I'll be different from even when I'll be more dangerous than when I was wearing a uniform. Because there are certain attitudes that you know, sometimes when you are too lenient, people dance on your head. They will see a different Yaya Jammeh. If you work hard, I have no problems with you. And I'll be with you. I'll support you all the way. But if you don't want to work, go home, please. If you don't want to go home, if I find you there, you're going to regret why you are born. Billahi wa la ta'ala. It is a democratic country. If you don't want to work, go home. But you cannot receive pay for no work. And you cannot, instead of a patient, somebody is sick, and you are supposed to you're supposed to be patient with the guy. You are supposed to be compassionate, and instead of being compassionate and caring, you are being mean and wicked to the person and rude. That's not going to be accepted. I'm not talking about the 5 years, I'm talking about this 2012. If those who are, I'll wipe out almost 82% of those in the workforce, unless they change attitude. And that applies for everywhere. It's not only the medical field, it applies for everywhere. The civil service, the security, everywhere.
Women have played a very important role in your recent election victory, which, as I said, Mr. President, it's unprecedented. You've won all the 40 constituencies in this country. It's never happened before. And women played a very pivotal role in that. Where will you place women in the next 5 years?
You know, sometimes you are very interesting. You are talking as if it's only this election that the women played an important role. All my elections, and even without elections,
They'll be behind you.
the women have played a pivotal role and continue to play a pivotal role, and they will always be in the same place where they are, deep inside my heart. Why? You talked about support. It's not only political support that the women are contributing to the development of this country. Enterprises. Women own key enterprises, and thank God we are big women entrepreneurs thanks to our administration. We have women that own hotels, which was unheard of thanks to my administration. And any socio-economic development project that you can think of, the key players are women in this country. But also more importantly, education that we are talking about. Many a student is going to school thanks to his or her mother. So you could have had schools where the attendance would be very low because they cannot afford it. I mean, government is not in a position to pay for everybody. And the government also is not in a position to sponsor everybody. But thanks to these Gambian women, young and old, all the development projects, livestock project is the women. Narika project, Operation Concord Bay is the women. Any project of significance that you can think of, the SDF, 98% of the SDS funds went to Gambian women. So, I want to build an economic superpower. And here is a reliable force, a dedicated force, a God-fearing force for that matter too. Why? Because all the projects that involve loans, the women paid all their loans and the men refused. We had to threaten some with legal action for them to pay. Now, put yourself in my place. You want to develop a country, and you have a natural force that not only support you, but they love you and they believe in you. Who would you work with? The women of this country. I said the sky is the limit, and I will say it again. If I can take my blood to give it to the Gambian women for them to prosper, I will. As a Muslim, if you are not grateful to people that stand by you, you will never be grateful to God. I owe a lot to the Gambian women. Look at, and I will say it. This is, tomorrow you watch the stadium. 90% of the attendance